I didn't buy the lake house to impress anyone. I bought it because every frantic, over-caffeinated cell in my body needed one place in the world that didn't ask anything of me. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere I could hear my own thoughts without my phone buzzing like a beehive. Somewhere I could drink coffee on the dock and watch the sky do its slow watercolor thing without also mentally budgeting for someone else's latest emergency. In other words, I bought it because of my family. I'm the middle child between two sisters who, if entitlement were a sport, would have agents and shoe deals. Growing up, I was the responsible one, only because every family needed someone to remember the permission slip and turn off the oven. My older sister, Emily, was the golden child with a group project approach to life. She did the presentation while everyone else, me, did the work. My younger sister, Tasha, was the baby and therefore, apparently, the duchess of all exemptions. She never learned how to fold a fitted sheet because that's a system problem, not a me problem. That's a direct quote. My mother laughed when she said it. I started Venmoing myself $5 every time I had to unclench my jaw. I didn't come from money. I came from coupon folders and we'll see, and let's check the outlet store. I worked 2 jobs in my early 20s, morning shifts at a copy shop and nights doing inventory at a warehouse, while I finished my degree. I freelanced on top of that, spreadsheets and small business bookkeeping. I ate rice and eggs so often I knew their boredom by name. I mended my socks. I learned how much I could save by not buying drinks out. The lake house, when I found it, wasn't fancy. It was a weathered cedar A-frame with a dock that listed like a tired ship, an avocado green stove older than me, and raccoons that had declared the attic a sovereign nation. It also had a wraparound porch that caught the sunset like a net, and a narrow blue cove where the fish flickered like coins. First time I stepped inside, I could feel my shoulders drop 3 inches. I put everything into it. Weekends. Vacation days. The raise I didn't celebrate because nobody in my family asked. I learned how to hang drywall from YouTube. I resealed the deck twice and broke a sander once. I hired an electrician for the scary parts and did the rest myself. I added a security system because I wanted to be able to sleep instead of cataloging all the what-ifs at 3 a.m. I kept a notebook of what I'd fixed, what I'd learned, what the house had taught me. That quiet isn't the absence of noise so much as the presence of your own life, undisturbed. If it sounds like I'm being romantic, sorry, but the house is not a line item to me. It's a boundary. A boundary I paid for, bled for, shout out to the roofing nail incident, and protected with a policy so simple even my family could understand it. No rentals. Not to strangers, not to friends who are basically family, not to anyone. The place is for me, my partner when I eventually trust the universe enough to let one in, and the 2 friends who helped me move a sofa that tried to murder us on the stairs. That's it. There's a reason locks were invented. I said no rentals the same day I closed. I said it again when the paint dried. I said it when Emily joked that the house would make insane Airbnb cash during foliage season. I said it when Tasha texted, "Rando Q. You think the HOA would mind if we put a hot tub on the lower deck?" Hypothetically. There is no HOA, for the record. There is only my willpower. To be clear, I didn't spring no on them out of nowhere. My sisters have a long and public history with my boundaries. There was the time Emily borrowed my car for a quick run and took it on a weekend trip to a bachelorette, then acted wounded when I asked her to replace the balding tires. There was the time Tasha used my car just for gas because she forgot her wallet and then somehow bought a walk-in closet of fast fashion. When I confronted her, she said I should be glad I'm helping her build a brand. The brand, if you're curious, was takes selfies and doesn't pay late fees. So when they asked to meet for brunch to discuss a business opportunity, I knew exactly what time it was. We were at my mom's favorite place, the kind with iron chairs that leave a waffle pattern on the back of your thighs. I was already sweaty. The coffee was burnt. Both my sisters were 10 minutes late, doing that thing where they walk in like the room waited to inhale until they arrived. Emily had a leather folio under her arm. Tasha wore sunglasses inside and a shirt that said CEO of me. "Okay," Emily said, crisp and smiling, sliding into her chair. "We're so excited to share this with you. Before we start," Tasha added, pushing her glasses up onto her head like a headband, "I want to say, we totally respect your vibe about the house." "Totally," Emily echoed. "It's your sanctuary. We get it." But also, and hear us out, why not let your sanctuary pay for itself? She opened the folio like it was a stage curtain. Inside, printed spreadsheets, graphs with aggressive arrows, and a picture of my house taken from my Instagram, which felt like a small trespass by itself. One tab of the spreadsheet was titled Revenue Projections. Another said Cleaning and Turnover Efficiencies. A third said Damage Deposits. We'll be so careful. Tasha pointed a perfectly manicured nail at the photo. This look, she said approvingly. It's giving cozy luxury. It's giving girls getaway. It's giving yes, we'll pay $1,000 a night because we hate our husbands and need wine. I took a slow breath. No rentals, I said gently. I've said this. Right, Emily said, already in rebuttal mode. And we respect that. However, you're thinking small. Let's think like owners. The house is an asset. Assets should produce cash flow. That's not capitalism. That's common sense. Common sense is wearing your seatbelt, I said. Common sense is not handing a stranger the keys to your home because you like money. Emily's smile went thin. Tasha leaned in with the kind of eager, sincere tone people use when they want to sell you vitamins. It wouldn't be strangers, she said. It would be curated guests. We'll handle everything. Listings, photos, communication, check-in, check-out, cleaning. We'll screen them like crazy. I'm great with vibes. Emily's great with spreadsheets. You wouldn't even have to set foot in the place unless you wanted to. That's worse. I said, that's literally worse. Emily tapped her pen. 70-30 split, she said. 70 to you, of course. We'll take 30 for management. That's fair. And you can block out any dates you want in advance. Holidays obviously we'd want to keep open. Why would I keep holidays open for paying guests? I asked. For premium rates, Emily said, like I was an idiot. You could cover your property taxes in one Thanksgiving weekend. I can cover my property taxes by working my job, I said. Which I do. Barely. Tasha muttered, then did the sweet smile when I looked up. Kidding. I'm kidding. Emily put a hand over the folio like a priest blessing the Eucharist. Look, she said. This is a win-win. You've already done the hard part. Let us sweat the details. We've got a photographer lined up. Tasha knows a cleaning team. Her husband's brother is handy. He can fix stuff on the fly. Tasha, I said, your husband's brother once tried to fix your shower and the water went the wrong direction. Emily didn't miss a beat. The point is, we have the manpower. You have the property. Together, we're a business. I took another breath. This one came out like a laugh that forgot how to be amused. Okay, I said. Let's pretend for a second that I wasn't deeply allergic to this entire conversation. There are also rules. The town has short-term rental limits. The neighbors value quiet. My peace of mind is not a negotiable line item. They won't mind, Tasha said. We'll just rent to nice people. Bridesmaids, yoga retreats, curated vibes. Yoga retreats blast music at sunrise, I said. Bridesmaids do not whisper. Emily slid a page closer, as if proximity would charm me. Let me show you the math. I didn't look. The math is never the problem. The math always looks at you with clean hands and a tie on like it's neutral. The problem is that the people doing the math are the same people who think just this once is a coupon that never expires. Why is this so hard for you? Tasha asked, genuinely baffled. We're giving you free money. You're telling me what to do with my house, I said. Because you want something. No, Emily said. We're telling you what you could do. It's exasperating to watch you leave money on the table. You can be sentimental all you want on weekdays. Let weekends make it worthwhile. I folded my napkin, unfolded it, folded it again. My heart was making that click-click sound it does before I say something that will end a tradition. I saw my mom at the counter chatting with a waitress she liked. My mom who would later text me a novel that contained the word ungrateful and 6 heart emojis. I pictured the dock, the way the planks remember your footsteps. I pictured someone else, anyone else, dumping a bag of charcoal where I'd pulled splinters from my thumbs, stomping in wet sand over the rug I'd chosen, leaving headphones in an armchair I'd cried into after the worst week of my life. Hate me for it if you want, but there are things I will not share. Let me say this clearly, I said, and set the napkin down because my hands were shaking in a way I refused to show. No rentals. Not to strangers. Not to friends of friends. Not to influencers you think will elevate the brand. Not to you. Not to anyone. This is not a business. This is my home. Emily stared at me like I'd mispronounced a word she uses hourly. You're being dramatic, she said. We're trying to help you. This is why you're always stuck. Stuck? I said. I'm the only one at this table who's ever read the terms and conditions on anything. Tasha leaned back, angry pretty. Wow, she said. We're the bad guys because we care? Because we have initiative? Because we actually think big? You're the bad guys because you don't hear no, I said. You hear negotiate. Emily collected the papers with a crisp shuffle, jaw clenched. If you won't let us help, she said, then don't complain when you're drowning in bills. I'm fine, I said. I planned for this. That's the difference. So that's it? Tasha asked. You're just going to sit on an empty house out of spite? It's not empty, I said. I'm in it. They both laughed. Not the nice kind. Though we can't believe you said that kind. Final answer? Emily asked, as if I were a game show with a timer counting down. Final, I said. It was not a loud moment. It didn't need to be. Gravity knows when something drops. Emily slid the folio into her tote, like she was zipping up a wound. Tasha put her sunglasses back on. Inside, like the sun was now a person in the booth with us. My mother, across the room, looked over because she has a sixth sense for trouble, and we are the weather system she pretends is seasonal. Don't say we didn't try, Emily said, standing. When you're ready to be reasonable, we'll revisit. I am reasonable, I said. That's why I'm saying no. Tasha kissed the air near my cheek and missed. You know, she said, at some point you're going to have to stop being precious about everything and live a little. I do live, I said. Just not for you. They left in heels that argued with the tile. I sat there with the check, the waffle pattern on my skin, and the very specific silence you get after choosing yourself in public. I paid. I hugged my mom, who whispered, they mean well, in a tone that meant, please don't make me take a side. And I drove back to my office past the hardware store that knows me by name and the bank where I signed, and I thought, okay. Line drawn. Clear. Done. At least, that's what I thought. When I got home, there were already 3 texts from Emily. Can we just talk about parameters? You're being rash. Send me the security system login so I can evaluate camera angles, for safety. There was one from Tasha. We're family. Let us in. I ignored them. I made pasta. I put my phone in a bowl with my keys and watched the sun slide down the buildings like a yawn. The next morning, I woke up to a shared Google Doc invite titled Lake House SOP. I declined it. I blocked the calendar invites that followed. And then, because I know my sisters and I know how hope makes people tireless, I put my policy in writing, again. A short email to the family group thread. As discussed, the lake house is not for rent. Please do not contact me about this again. I signed it with my name and felt petty about the period. Then I felt relieved. They didn't reply. Not immediately. Later that night my mom called to ask why I was being difficult. Like difficulty were a hat I'd put on to annoy her. I told her the hat was permanent. She sighed. Dad muttered something about property rights in the background like a distant radio. He understands me in a quiet way I don't hold against him for being quiet. He pays for nothing of mine and asks for nothing of mine. We are at peace. For 2 weeks, the group chat was a mix of small talk and mild frost. My sisters posted memes that said things like boss babe energy and passive income is my love language, which I think were meant to shame me by osmosis. I posted a picture of the lake at dawn and wrote, no, I worked. I slept. On Friday, I packed a bag, threw it in the trunk, and headed to the house to spend the weekend staining a bookcase. The road there is a series of green tunnels where the trees meet over your head like gossiping giants. The house smelled like cedar and Murphy oil soap and the first promise of rain. I swept. I exhaled. I texted 2 friends a photo of the porch, and they sent back 15 heart emojis. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I went to bed early to the kind of quiet that deserves a proper thank you. In the morning, I walked the dock, coffee in hand, toes cold through the boards, and I thought, there's a happy ending that is just a grown-up keeping a promise to themselves. Which is why, when the next thing happened, it felt like a slap. The first week after brunch was quiet in that fake, brittle way a glass looks calm right before it spiderwebs. Emily went corporate on me. Calendar invites, a new Google Drive with tabs like brand pillars and guest persona, and a PDF labeled Lake House Agreement _ draft, where my signature line sat patiently at the bottom like a bear trap. Tasha went spiritual, voice notes about abundance, fixed mindset versus growth mindset, and a 3-minute story about a podcast that convinced her the universe hates wasted resources. There were also strategically placed family photos in the group chat, always from summers on a different lake, when the three of us were skinny-kneed and skinned-elbowed and didn't know words like escrow. Mom called me a little rigid. Dad said, "It's your property," and then went back to sanding a birdhouse. By midweek, the guilt campaign leveled up. Emily texted, "We already floated the idea to a few friends. We have demand." Tasha sent mock-ups of a listing page with the house name she'd invented. I will not repeat it. It rhymed with snuggle, and captions like handcrafted vibes and hosted by family. There was a spreadsheet with soft bookings. I replied each time with a single word, no. It read like I was texting a dog. "Look," Emily wrote finally. "If the money is the problem, we confront the first round of upgrades and take a larger percentage until we recoup. The problem," I wrote back, "is that you think my boundary is a budget line." Tasha tried a different angle. "We're trying to help you not be lonely. Houses are happier with company. Feng shui." Then a photo of sage burning in a shell. I muted the thread. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. For 2 days, nobody called me unreasonable to my face. On Friday, the quiet cracked. I was at the grocery store debating the relative virtue of red versus green grapes when my phone did the one ping I never ignore. Lake house, front door, forced entry detected. The screen showed a freeze frame. The mudroom camera shoved ask you at an angle that makes your stomach drop because you know it wasn't you. A second later came the chime I hate, camera offline. My whole body learned new math. I left the grapes in the cart, abandoned a pack of tortillas like a clue for future archaeologists, and was in my car before my brain caught up. My hands had that white-knuckled, watch on the wrong wrist feeling. I dialed the neighbor as I pulled out. "Mr. Larkin," I said when he answered. He insists I call him Pete. But something about retirement-age men with well-oiled lawn equipment requires a title. "Are you home?" "I'm always home," he said, amused. "What's wrong?" "My security just pinged. Front door." "Did you hear anything?" There was a little shuffling, the sound of a screen door and a dog collar. "Well," he said, voice tightening, "there are 2 unfamiliar cars in your drive. Big white SUV, black pickup. I thought you had folks coming for the weekend." "I do not," I said, the words cold enough to frost their own breath. "You want me to walk down and take a look?" "No," I said too fast. "Please don't go over there. Just stay watching. I'm 40 minutes out." 35 if you drive like my Barbara," he said. "I'll keep an eye, sweetheart." I drove like a person who forgot how to blink. The road to the lake is usually a chorus of slow down. It's pretty, but I didn't see a single tree. I saw the mudroom camera tilting, the typed word offline, like a puncture, and a looping slideshow of everything I'd ever done to earn that house. All of it held at knife point by 2 license plates I didn't recognize. They had to know I'd find out, which means they either didn't care or thought I wouldn't do anything. Both answers were a kind of blood in the mouth. At 19 minutes, my phone buzzed again. "Mr. Larkin, they went in around 15 minutes ago. 4 of them. 2 men, 2 women. The taller woman has your face a bit, so I thought maybe." "Thank you," I said, because I couldn't say the other words, which were a scream. "Please don't engage." "Hollered once from the porch that you'd be here soon," he admitted. The stocky one, wearing a hat indoors, gave me a thumbs up like I was a scarecrow. "I'm on my porch. Gus is with me." Gus is his elderly beagle. Gus would sooner invite intruders in for tea than deter them, but love is love. The stocky one in a hat. Brad, Tasha's husband. And the other? Nate, with his perpetual smirk and a habit of correcting waitstaff's pronunciation of bruschetta. Emily and Tasha had brought their husbands to my door like muscle. I'd like to tell you I made rational decisions the whole drive. I didn't. I rehearsed speeches that sounded like I had a judge behind me and a bullhorn. I also invented petty curses like, "May they always find a pebble in one shoe." I called the non-emergency police line, then hung up, then called again to ask how long response time usually is for the Lake Road, then lied and said, "Never mind, sorry," because I wanted the words break in to be a key I chose to turn. By the time I hit the last bend, my hands had stopped shaking. That surprised me. It felt like how people describe the moment before a car crash. Everything slowed and focused. The lake flashed blue between trees. My mailbox looked polite and oblivious. The driveway was very much not oblivious. White SUV with a "Bless This Mess" decal. Black pickup with a ladder rack. The ladder itself was leaned against my porch railing, like this was a project call. I parked at the end of the drive, not blocking them in because I wanted the option of leave now. The porch light was on in the middle of the day. The front door was ajar like a mouth exhaling the smell of bleach and sandalwood and something fried. I had the crystal clear, insane thought. They brought a diffuser. Inside, voices. Emily's clipped. No, no, that shelf will warp if you load it like that. Tasha's bright. Babe, can you carry the cooler? A male laugh. The scrape of something heavy. I hit record on my phone without even deciding to. I let the video see what I was about to see. The house came into view one slow foot at a time. The new rug I'd rolled out last visit. Now ask you. My boots on the mat, nudged sideways like they'd been used as props. The mudroom camera, my cheap Brave Guard, was pointed at a wall. The deadbolt would looked bruised. Hello, I said loud. My voice sounded unfamiliar. Level, almost bored, the way a doctor says you're going to feel a pinch. Everything went briefly still. Then the clatter of something being set down quickly. Emily appeared first, hair perfect, expression arranged. She had a roll of blue painter's tape in her hand. Behind her, Brad in a backwards baseball cap and a tank top that made his arms look like a threat. Tasha drifted into the frame like a scented candle come to life. Holding a stack of folded towels she absolutely stole from a hotel. Nate came last, wearing the smirk and carrying a toolbox. Why? I said, enunciating every letter like a spelling bee. Are you in my house? Hey, Tasha trilled, as if I'd arrived early to a surprise party. You made it. This is not. I started. Don't freak out, Emily said, palms out. This is exactly why we asked you to be rational about the timeline. We had to move quickly. Foliage season bookings are time-sensitive. I looked at the towels, the cooler, a stack of mason jars on the counter, a printed sign in a cheap frame that said "Welcome, Lake Lovers," with my house name in a font straight off a lemonade stand. The kind of violation that arrives wearing a smile. You broke my door, I said, because it was the smallest fact and therefore safe to say first. Brad wiped his hands on his shorts. The latch was being stupid, he said. I have a guy who can fix it. It wasn't broken until you broke it, I said. And it's not the latch. It's my door. And this is my house. Language, Emily said automatically, as if I'd sworn. Then, realizing how that sounded, she switched tactics. We know you needed time to process the plan. So we just made a start. Proof of concept. You'll see how seamless it is. We're staging. We'll be gone by Sunday midday. First guests Monday. We'll block off weekends you want. There are no guests Monday, I said. There are no guests ever. Tasha set the towels down carefully like a hostage negotiator. Op, she said, using the nickname she only uses when she wants something. Don't make this weird. We're family. We're not strangers off the internet. We'll treat it better than our own homes. This is us helping. You broke in, I said, and heard how flat my voice was. You are in my home without my permission. You moved my things. You tampered with my security camera. Nate shrugged like a cat stretching. The camera made it hard to work, he said. And I suppose that was true if your definition of work includes felony. Besides, we're adding new ones. Better angles. The listing will thank us. I looked at Emily. She met my eyes with a challenge and something mean. You weren't listening, she said. So we did. There are 100 ways I want to tell this part, all of which make me sound more dramatic, more justified, more movie-ready. The simple, ugly version is, I felt something in me harden. Not rage, exactly. Rage is hot. This was colder and older, like a door that hadn't been opened since I was a kid learned how to lock. You have 5 minutes, I said. Take your things. Get out. Tasha laughed. 5 minutes? Babe, be serious. Emily smiled, but not with her eyes. You're not actually going to kick your own sisters out, she said, in front of the neighbors. You care too much about appearances. Appearances, I said, gesturing at the sign. The cooler, the diffuser, seemed covered. Brad shifted his weight, stepping between me and the hallway. Casual in that particular way men get when they're trying to fill the air with their shoulders. Hey, he said, friendly aggro. No need to get all legal on us. We're doing sweat equity here. You'll thank us. Move, I said. Nate chuckled. Relax. We're family. And technically, you left the door unlocked. You forced the latch, I said. It wasn't even a good latch, Brad said, baffled. Like any guy could. Cool, I said. Take your guy and leave. Emily exhaled loudly, the martyr's sigh. You're being punitive, she said. You're punishing us for having vision. We told you we'd handle everything. We're not asking you for money. We're making you money. You love being the victim, and frankly, it's exhausting. Tasha did the head tilt. Maybe this is about control? Therapy could be. Stop saying therapy like it's a spell, I said. Okay, Nate said, clapping his hands. The universal sign for, I'm about to declare a plan nobody agreed to. We're going to finish setting up the bedroom, and then we can all sit down and hash out terms. You're at 75, we're at 25, pending upgrades. Cleaning fees separate. I have a friend who can do the hot tub for below market. There is no hot tub, I said, and there will never be a hot tub. Not with that attitude, Brad muttered. I stepped backward, which surprised them. They thought I was retreating. I was stepping out onto the porch where my phone would pick up a bar or two more of service because I knew what needed to happen and I didn't want to do it standing under the eyes of my grandmother's photo. The afternoon was bright in that late summer way that makes everything look like a commercial for nostalgia. Mr. Larkin stood at the end of his drive across the lane, Gus beside him, both of them pretending to admire the sky. He caught my eye and gave me a little nod that meant, I see you. Behind me, Emily tried for sweet. Let's be reasonable, okay? We're basically already here. It would be rude to kick us out now. Just let us have this weekend to get everything dialed. You don't even have to be here. Go into town, grab dinner, take a personal day. We'll text you the after pictures. You're counting on me not wanting a scene, I said. You're counting on me giving you what you want because you've started the taking. Tasha's smile thinned. We're counting on you to stop taking everything so personally, she said. It's just a house. There it was. The quiet snap. It's my house, I said. I put the phone on speaker and dialed. You know the sound. The click. The ring. The voice. 911. What's your emergency? Behind me, I heard 3 separate intakes of breath, like a choir that just saw the conductor raise the baton. Emily hissed, you wouldn't. I looked at the living room through the open door, my rug, my bookshelf, my stitched-together piece, and then at my sisters and their husbands standing in it like they'd ordered it from a catalog. Yes, I said, to the dispatcher and to them. I'd like to report a break-in at my property. The dispatcher asked for the address. I gave it, voice steady. She asked if I knew the suspects. I said yes. She asked if they were still on the premises. I said yes. She told me to step outside if I felt unsafe. I told her, I am outside. Brad spoke first, laughing a little. Come on. You're not calling the cops on family. Tasha blinked. Mascara perfect. Reality a beat behind. Hang up. We can talk. Nate crossed his arms and looked at Emily like, control your sibling. Emily took a step forward. Don't do this, she said, low and hard. You will regret it. I looked at them all, the 4 of them framed by my doorway like a bad portrait, and realized the thing that chilled me was not the broken latch or the skewed camera. It was that they'd counted on me valuing the family more than the house, not understanding that the house is how I learned to value myself. The dispatcher said units were en route. She asked if there were weapons. I took inventory, a toolbox, a ladder, pride. No weapons, I said. Just a lot of entitlement. Ma'am? The dispatcher said, diplomatically. Sorry, I said. No weapons. Officers are on their way, she repeated. Please remain on the line. Inside, Emily squared her shoulders. You're overreacting, she said. This is a family matter. No, I said, stepping fully onto the porch, voice carrying. It became something else the minute you broke my door. I could hear sirens in the far distance, a thin silver thread in the trees. Brad rolled his eyes and grabbed the cooler. This is ridiculous, he said. We'll be gone before anyone gets here. You win. Finally, Nate muttered. Emily didn't move. Tasha bit her lip in a way that, for once, didn't look cute on Instagram. 5 minutes, I said again. Not because I expected them to obey, but because I wanted it in the record of the day. I offered a door that wasn't a deadbolt. They didn't take it. And that's the moment I understood how far people will go when they believe they're entitled to what you built. As far as your porch, past your threshold, right into your quiet, smiling for photos. The sirens grew louder. Gus barked once. Mr. Larkin folded his arms. The wind changed, and I could smell the lake. I stayed on the line. I stayed on the porch. I stayed exactly where I was supposed to be when the line you drew gets crossed. The cruisers rolled up the lane like the woods had grown a heartbeat. 2 officers. Ramirez talked to me. Healy went straight to the door. The jam was splintered, my mudroom cam tilted to stare at drywall, and the "Welcome, Lake Lovers" sign grinning on my shelf like it paid rent. Are you the caller? Yes. Owner. Anyone inside who doesn't belong? My 2 sisters and their husbands. No permission. Door forced. Camera moved. They lined everyone up in the yard. Emily tried corporate charm. Tasha tried misty-eyed innocence. Brad, cap backward, and Nate, toolbox guy, tried to look bigger than the law. Mr. Larkin, my neighbor, confirmed what my security alert already knew. 2 cars, ladder to the porch, the pop when the latch gave, set up activity inside. Ramirez photographed everything. The bruised strike plate, the skewed camera, the painter's tape arrows on my floor like a tutorial for trespass. He took my deed, tax bill, insurance, and the freeze frame alert. I forwarded the files to the case email because of course I have a folder named Lake House. Healy did the script. Did you have permission? We're family, Emily said. Implicit permission, Nate added. It was basically unlocked, Brad lied. We were helping, Tasha said. The law is the law, Healy replied, body cam calm. He read rights. Cuffs clicked, small, competent, final. The husbands went in the cruisers with matching scowls. My sisters stared at me like I'd set the trap, not the boundary. Are you happy? Emily hissed. You've destroyed this family. I didn't make you break my door, I said. It felt like drinking water. I signed the no trespass notices Ramirez offered. There's a form because enough people have already lived this. The locksmith arrived by sunset, replaced the deadbolt with something that thunked like a promise, and sold me a strike plate that bites back. Then came the fallout. The group chat detonated. You had them arrested? Mom called in tears. Do you know what this looks like? Dad texted, proud of you. Lock the back door too. Emily emailed an invoice for staging supplies, towels, diffuser, guest mood unit, which my lawyer replied to with a polite, no, make an appointment with police standby if you want your abandoned goods. Monday arraignment was beige and inevitable. The charges, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, tampering with a security device. Not a dramatic TV burglary, but the real-world version that matters because this is a dwelling. They pled not guilty. The judge set conditions. No contact with me. Stay off my property. Stop touching my cameras. Release pending. The docket got a number. My fridge got a magnet to hold it. Family then tried the soft invasion. Invitations disguised as diplomacy. Phone trees disguised as prayer lists. Facebook posts about choosing peace that were really about choosing optics. Aunt Rita leaked the new family group, Bridge Builders, LOL, where drop the charges was a bullet point with emojis. I muted, blocked, forwarded to my lawyer, repeated no like flossing. Mom begged for a no husband's dinner. I agreed with conditions. No ambush, no retroactive consent, no negotiator act. The table was set like a treaty. We lasted 3 minutes before Emily slid a letter across the linen. Some attorney's idea of a fix where I preferred private resolution. Tasha cried on cue. Mom said holidays, like she was laying down a hostage. I pushed the letter back. I won't lie to the state. I won't call a fire a candle. We're done. Tasha grabbed my wrist. If you do this, we're done. We've been done, I said. I just stopped carrying your stuff. Meanwhile, the prosecutor called. Defense wanted diversion. Her offer, restitution for the door, a property crime class, written apologies that say we were wrong, no but, and a no-contact term. If they behave, charges dismissed. If not, charges bounce back like a bad check. I said yes. I'm not here to ruin lives. I'm here to stop them from parking theirs on my porch. There was a mediator session, because apparently even consequences need candy bowls. The first sister apology contained a but. The mediators surgically removed it. The second version, flat, simple, landed. We're sorry. We were wrong to enter without permission. I accepted and clarified terms. The lake house is solely mine. No use, no management, no soft bookings, unless I write it down with ink that bites. We all signed. Emily tried a last flinch. Maybe in a few years we can revisit. And I gave the only word this story ever needed. No. The legal end was designedly boring. The husbands paid restitution, sat through a Saturday courthouse class taught by a kind woman in a cardigan, and wrote exactly 3-paragraph apology letters that used the words, "I'm sorry, and we were wrong." The prosecutor filed compliance. The case went quiet. The social end was Messier. Emily posted a sunset captioned, "Choosing Peace." Translation, "Choosing PR." Tasha launched a forgiveness journey on Instagram. Translation, "Curated amnesia." Mom started texting me birds like the family group could be re-wielded if we ignored the scorch marks. Dad kept sending links to better deadbolts. Mr. Larkin brought a pie. Gus stole a peach and looked like a saint. I threaded my weekends back through the place. Coffee on the dock. A heron shrugged up from the cove like it remembered gravity is optional. The new lock learned my hand. The camera blinked like a friend. I even kept the diffuser. It smells like pine and irony. Here's what survived. The house, my boundary, and the lesson. Family isn't the people you let rewrite your rules because they knew you when your teeth were crooked. Family, at minimum, is people who don't force your latch and call it love. I won't pretend we've found a Hallmark ending. Maybe one day we'll trade jokes about the Great Lake House caper. Maybe we won't. For now, the bridge they keep building is made of the same old boards: denial, pressure, image management, and I'm not crossing. They asked me to make it go away so they wouldn't be embarrassed. I didn't. The state did its job, I did mine. The door closes. The door opens. Because I said so.